I'm going to do an insight video again today, and I've been talking about source energy for the last, uh, probably last sort of like 6 or 8 months, and this is a shift in consciousness. I was talking about it yesterday. I was talking about sort of seeing reality and seeing source energy and source manifestation, source creation. I was talking about the different sort of dimensional shifts and dimensional reality and consciousness. And I think it's sort of like in everything we do at the moment, source energy is manifesting and it's aligning and it's shifting our awareness, shifting our consciousness. And this is like really important at the moment in this time. I've talked about the universal laws and like the universal law of oneness, the universal law of vibration and frequency, the universal law of correspondence, the universal law of inspired action, the universal law of perpetual transmutation, universal law of rhythm. All of these kind of universal laws connect into source energy. And it's important. I've talked about this diamond consciousness, which is the union, and this is the union of source energy and the understanding that, union to all things, that all things are connected, nothing is separate and everything is interconnected. I was talking about yesterday about 3D reality, 3D perception and blueprint, and how we perceive that. Like all things physical, in the sense of like the physical objects, and how we see that's a 3D blueprint. And it's sort of like, so like if you pick up something that's physical, that's your human mind perceiving it as a physical object. But there's another level to it, and this is where like you go into the 5D reality, and then you start going into like 6D reality, which is source consciousness, and the 5D reality is sort of like moving past that and seeing that all things, although they are physical in like perception, or we perceive them to be physical, there's a source energy to all things. There's an inner energetic sort of vibration and frequency to all things, and that's source creation, that's source manifestation. And this is what this time's about. It's shifting past the physical, and it's moving into those higher dimensional realities and higher dimensional um, perceptions, or the higher dimensional sort of conscious awareness, that all things are vibrating as one vibration, one frequency, beyond that physical blueprint, the 3D blueprint. And when we start to realize that, we start to then move into, like I said, with the universal law of correspondence, we move into the awareness and the consciousness that we're light and energy, a frequency, and all reality is born from that frequency, from that vibration. And this is the notion of the universal law of oneness, that all things are interconnected and all things vibrate, and all we need to do to shift and change reality is shift and change our vibration, and shift and change our awareness of how reality is, and see beyond it. Again, this is the notion of seeing beyond. And this is where the universal law of correspondence comes in, because we start to know that we're an essence, we're a source essence that vibrates on an infinite vibration, an infinite frequency. And when we start to move past that, we see that we have unlimited potential and unlimited opportunity to shift and change reality in any time, in any moment. Again, this is the eternal moment, and this is the oneness frequency. This is the source frequency, the source consciousness, which is related to the oneness frequency. The oneness frequency is the awareness that the eternal moment is infinite, and it vibrates. It vibrates on this energetic frequency, and that any time, in any moment, in any so it's not even time, because when we start talking about time, we're talking about something that is limited. But in the eternal moment, the energy is always vibrating. There's always a vibration, there's always a frequency, and there's always an opportunity to shift and change our consciousness, to see and perceive reality in a different way. And this is like when Eckhart Tolle talks about like the power of now. This is what he's talking about. He's talking about that shift in consciousness, and this is what's going on for many of us at the moment. As we start to align with source creation and the oneness vibration, we start to realize. And again, other universal laws like the inspired action, which is the opening to the source consciousness and the flow of the oneness vibration, the oneness frequency. And this is what this time's about. And the universal law of rhythm is about this. It's about the cycles of growth. But the cycles of growth are directly connected to the shift of consciousness of spiritual beings, or not spiritual beings, of beings, of energetic beings. We're all energetic beings, and we're all sort of like, we all have the essence, and um, we all have this essence within each and every one of us, that we, at any time, we can shift and change that. And when we start to realize that, um, also the universal law of perpetual transmutation tells us, and it's a good sort of universal law, gives us wisdom and understanding of creation and manifestation on an energetic level. But it also tells us and gives us a direct sort of teaching and wisdom of how the energetic world works, and how source light creation manifests, and the source light creation consciousness um, vibrates in that way. So, like, the universal law of perpetual transmutation tells us that everything has an energetic frequency, a vibration of frequency to it. And when we go deeper than that 3D blueprint, and we go into the 5D blueprint, and the 6D blueprint, which is source energy and source consciousness, we start to realize that everything vibrates, and everything can be created and manifested on that frequency. So all frequencies and all vibrations, when we're in that eternal moment and we're in that perpetual transmutation, we can shift and change. It's like we're not powerless, but we're powerful. So it's sort of like this opening to the center, the centeredness of your being and your source of energy and your source light creation, vibration and frequency. We start to realize this. And this is what's going on for me at the moment. I've been told more and more, or I've been sort of impressed with source consciousness, that you are a vibration, you are a frequency, and you create your reality. So it's the consciousness is manifesting and aligning and integrating within my own being, and telling me, and sort of like guiding me through this wisdom, that I need to create my own reality through my own vibration, my own frequency. And this is the eternal moment. This is the universal law of oneness again. And this is source vibration. This is source frequency. This is source creation. The many sort of like masters and guides that have talked about walking on the earth and mastering this reality have talked about vibration and frequency, and they've talked about everything works on that vibration and frequency, and that in the universal law of correspondence, that you're creating within your own sort of source energy and your centeredness, that you're able to vibrate on a level and a consciousness that external reality then aligns with your internal reality. And this is the oneness vibration, the oneness frequency again. It works on all levels. The infinite frequencies work on vibration and frequency. Is the manifestation of all feelings, all emotions, all thoughts, and again, consciousness is when you're sort of like you're in that light, that energy, and you're vibrating that frequency. Your consciousness shifts and expands depending on what you're creating within that universal law of correspondence. What you're creating within the inner world then reflects and mirrors the outer world. And this is why it's really important with source energy and source vibration that we start to understand this, because we then can create through alchemy. Like they say alchemy is like creating reality through thoughts, feelings, and creation through vibrations and frequencies. This is what alchemy means in like a spiritual term. And this is what this time's about. And this is why it's really important that we start to then awaken to it. I'm also seeing again this flame, this orange flame. This flame is union. It's harmony. It's harmony with source energy. I see these sort of like visions of these flames in many ways. I see like gold and white, and then I see orange, and they're all got different colours. But the colours are not in a sense. They're part of a whole, a wholeness, which source energy, source creation brings. These flames are again tools. Everything is tools. And the more I go into this, and the more I become sort of conscious of source energy, I was brought up in very much like going through spiritual churches and doing mediumship and healing and stuff like that. Well, not even mediumship, but I was doing healing as like a clairsentient, where I get these feelings, and then I get these impressions, and I get these visions. But they're all tools. They're all part of the universal law of inspired action. They're all part of soul consciousness, soul vibration, soul frequency, integrating within your energy system and awakening you to your source and your essence. And they're all tools. And I think within spiritual realities, people talk about guides, angels, masters, and all that, but they're all reflections of source energy. And the more that you start to see this, everything is a tool. Like I say, with crystals, they're a tool. Crystals I use to connect to my own essence. That's why I use crystals, because they bring me back to the source. They help me remember consciously to align with that source and remain in that source energy, that source vibration. Also, these sacred flames are about dissolving, bringing harmony, removing sort of like lower frequencies to come into this higher source frequency, which is what this whole sort of shift in consciousness is for us all, as all beings at the moment. And that, I talk about the universal laws. The universal laws are great wisdom. They're great teachings that bring us back into source energy, the oneness vibration, the eternal moment. All these things I've talked about are all manifesting and integrating within our consciousness, and all we have to do is try and remain in our center. Know that your reality is only a reflection of your inner reality. So this is why people say go within, in that source energy, that source vibration, that source frequency, because that's the seed of creation, that's the seed of manifestation. And this is what they're saying to you. And the universal laws work in harmony with your source essence, your source vibration. And this is what this time's about. And we're all born from that source, and we all return to that source. And this is what I'm saying. Like the universal law of perpetual transmutation is a direct sort of like teaching for how energy works and vibration and frequency. But that works in all of source creation, all dimensions, all realities, all frequencies. So they're all great teachers to bring wisdom to this age, and wisdom to our consciousness as we awaken, as part of what people call the ascension process. That's the insight for today.